Hey, I'm laying here and I just did a video and I was just looking back at the video. But I started to think on something that I was pondering on earlier today, and that was how we as a people, we look at life as we think it should go. And what I mean by that is that we don't really take into account and the fact that our lives are really not our lives per se. Like, we are the creation of Christ, right? So if we are the creation of God, we were placed here for his purpose. And with that being said, is things that happen in our life, things that we go through, were already predestined. It was already known by him what was going to happen, what was going to take place. He already set things in position. Now, we as a people, we do, because he gives us the ability to choose right from wrong, which way we want to go in a certain aspect, right? He doesn't. He's not a forceful God. Like, we are some forceful people. We're always trying to force people to do what we want them to do, see things how we want them to see, talk the way we want them to talk, behave the way that we want them to behave. God is not like that. Like, he allows us to be able to choose if we're going to do right, if we're going to do wrong. But there's repercussions to all that. But I said that to say this. We as a people have to learn that because we all are individuals, we all have our own destiny, we all have our own role that we're supposed to go down in this life to get to the end. And in getting to the end, there's going to be lots of, storms and valleys, and there's going to be peaks. There's going to be blessings. There's going to be opportunities. There's going to be all type of things that's going to happen in our lives, right? And so, how we know what's for us and what's not for us, even in the storms that we have to go through, because in the storms it brings about strength and wisdom, knowledge and understanding. We need to ask God, what is this for? What is the purpose for this? Why is this happening? What am I supposed to do? What is my calling for this situation? And we as a people, we don't do that. A lot of us wasn't taught, that is what we're supposed to do, that we're supposed to go before God. At my big age, I'm just coming to a deep understanding of how important that is, because I grew up, in a household where my mother, she gave me little sprinkles here and there of the word. She wasn't a mother that like took her children to church every Sunday and Bible study. We had a neighborhood grandmother, and her name was Miss Robinson, and she would knock on the doors of the neighbors and ask the parents if their kids can come to Bible study, because she understood that children are sponges, and if you are given the opportunity to teach them and mentor them and show them, you know, who God is and what God is and what he represents. And, you know, she was all for teaching. Beautiful woman. But let me go back to what I was saying. We need to respect people and their journey. And we have to stop thinking about what we would do, how we would do it, what works for me, you know, what does not work for me, and expect others to see it the same way, or live the same way, or reply the same way, or, behave the way you would. We can't do that. you know, because you don't know what God has planned for that person. You don't know their journey. We can't dictate what people do, how they act. Let me say this. I used to have a problem. I used to have a few people in my life where when I would do something, they would ask me, why you do it like that? Well, this is the way that I do it. This is the way that I'm comfortable with doing it. Well, wouldn't it make better sense to do it this way? For you, maybe, but not for me. See, just because I'm peeling a potato don't mean I have to peel my potato the way you peel a potato. Sorry. I can use a knife if I want to use a knife. I can use a potato peeler if I want to use a potato peeler. I can use one of those electric potato peelers. Like, I don't have to peel my potato the way you peel a potato. I can peel the skin off my potato and then cook it. I can cook my potato and then take off the peeling. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just what works for me. And I use that as an example because uh, I had people that were close to me. And they were the type of people that they would come at you like what you were doing was wrong. Because it's not how they did it. They didn't give respect to the fact that you were doing it the way that you was doing it because you were comfortable that way. It works for you. The outcome will be the same outcome, but they felt like if you didn't do it the way that they're used to doing it, that you were crazy. It didn't make no sense. That was just dumb. You understand? And I use that as an example because in life, God may have me at the age that I am now tell me, I want you to move to a whole nother country. Now, mind you, I have grown children, grandchildren, and everything. And if I share that with someone else, they may say to me, why would you want to leave your kids and grandkids? That's crazy. At the age that you are now, you're only going to get older. Wouldn't you want to be around family in case something goes wrong? Well, God told me to go to Belize, I'm going to just say. So what I'm going to do, tell him no? I don't know what's waiting for me on that side. He could send me there and then my family follows. We don't know. You don't know. But if you take the advice of that person and be like, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to go because, yeah, it don't make sense really. Like the age that I am, I do need to be closer to my kids. I need to be around my grandkids. But guess what? You could be missing out on your blessing and then cause them to miss out on the blessing. You don't know. Because sometimes we even look at our age as, oh, I'm too old now to do such and such and such. Even if it comes to changing your ways, your perspectives. You're never too old. As long as God has you here and you're breathing and you're moving and you're living, then you always have the opportunity to do something different. You always have the opportunity to change something. You're always able to change your thoughts of one thing to another because you realize that it just might be better for you. But the most important thing is if God is in control of your life and you're allowing him to move the way that he sees fit, then it doesn't matter what nobody else says. I recently got married. Well, I say it's my second time marrying this person because a year ago we had a spiritual wedding. This time we, went to Justice of the Peace or whatever. And then, anyway, so when I shared with someone last year that we did a spiritual um, vow ceremony, they were like, what's that? That's crazy. Like, what is that? So I explained it to them. It was like, that, okay, that's crazy. All right. So when we went to City Hall this year, then everybody is like, oh, now you're married. Or, I thought you said you were married. Well, we were, in our eyes. And in the spiritual realm, between him, I, and God, we were. But that's not the thing. What I'm trying to get to is people will look at what you're doing because it's different from how they do it and think that you're crazy. But you have to realize that your journey is not their journey. Without giving my age, I'm at a certain age, and like I said, I have 4 children already. My husband has 3 prior kids. Him and I have been friends our whole entire lives. Now he's at a place where he's like, he want us to have a child together. My thoughts is, oh no. When he first said that to me, I was like, oh no, I'm done. Like, shop closed. My youngest is 15. Baby, let me tell you, he is the last of the Mohicans. Shop is, when I say closed, baby, it's closed, padlocked. I mean, it's so closed that if you go to the door, there is cobwebs and everything. If you knock too hard, the door might cave in because it's just been, it's over with. So him and I had been talking, and I had came to the understanding that in a marriage, when you give your marriage to God and you're not living in your marriage for self, and you really take your vows and things serious, you come to realize that if God is in control, you don't know what he may do. Because I was told years ago, and this may seem like too much for a lot of people, but it's just giving context to what I'm saying. I was told years ago that my mother, her cycle stopped at a certain time. My grandmother stopped at a certain time. So my cycle should stop around that time. And so when that time came, and a year after, I'm like, okay, excuse me, we have a problem here. Like, why are we still, going through this process every month? Like, shouldn't I be done? And come to find out, I've been in what they consider premenopause for a couple of years. I didn't even know that was possible. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, you start showing signs of premenopause. You might have a menstruation, you might not, and then one day you just don't have it. I didn't know that you can go, years through this cycle. And so I'm asking, like, okay, God, what's up? Like, why? Like, there's no need for this anymore. And I say that to say this. What if God kept me having a cycle because he knew that I would be married? This is my first marriage. I would be married, and the desires of my husband would be to have one. But people would look at me and say, are you sure you would want to do that? It would have been a time I would have said to me, girl, you want to do that? Like, you already know what is, you already know what you go through. You know what it's about. You know that this is not something that you really are excited about because you get sick, you can't eat, you can't even drink water. You know, you're dealing with, you know, other things. Like, why would you want to? Why would you want to chance it? But then I come to realize, since I've been married, that my marriage is not just my marriage. My marriage is a unity, but it's a unity with God. And me and my husband, we put God first in our marriage. So therefore, we know that he may present us with things that we were not expecting. We may not understand. We may not even feel like we're ready for. But if it's God's will, it will happen. Like, when it's God's will, who can control it? Like, you really can't control it. It's his will. So you have to drown out the noise. You have to drown out people and their thoughts, their opinions, their disapproval, because people seem to always feel like they have the right to disapprove of what's going on in another person's life. And then people don't honor marriage enough to know, especially if they themselves are not married, they cannot understand the whole concept of, this is not my boyfriend, this is my husband. Like, it's different. Like, my life is not just my life. I have to consider his feelings, his desires. He has to consider mine. My body is not just my body, it's his body. His body is not just his body, it's my body. Like, and we are the masterpieces of God. So however he decides to work through us, display his power, display his purpose in our lives, we're not going to try to stand in his way, because that's what we was placed here for. So I just said that to say, people really need to be careful when dealing with other people. We have to be careful how we throw our opinions upon others. We have to be careful how we backbite on people when we don't understand why somebody is doing what they're doing. It's really not for you to understand, because it's not your life. But the biggest thing that I've come to have a problem with when it comes to people is, people will have enough nerves to get an attitude and get mad about your situation and feel like you're doing something that they don't agree with, so they have a problem with it. But I'm here to ask, Is what I do in my life affecting yours? Like, that's something to think about for real. Like, if I up and fly and move and leave all my kids where they are, how's it affecting your life? How is me having a child for my husband affecting your life? If me no longer interacting with certain people because I feel like they disturb my peace, how does that affect you? This is my life. Your life is your life. And I will hope that you live your life to the fullest. And whatever God presents to you, that you take it, however that is, it's not my business. I used to tell my kids, I used to tell them all the time, hey, check this out. I'm in my lane. I'm driving in my lane. I don't need nobody over here with me. Like, drive in your lane. I tell people that all the time. Don't worry about my lane. Worry about yours. Stay focused on the road. That's all you got to do. Focus on your road. Not mine. You're going to crash. Looking over here. Trying to figure out what I'm doing. But I just had to share that because people really do have a problem with allowing people to live their lives according to how their lives were already predestined to go. We got to stop trying to dictate to other people. Now, it's nothing wrong with giving advice. It's nothing wrong with even being concerned for another person. It's nothing wrong with that. It's not anything wrong with loving someone to where you just want to see the best for them. But when you start to take it personal, when you start to you sitting in groups behind their back and you're talking about them to other people, and it may be people that they don't even get along with, but now you feel comfortable with talking to them about it because you feeling some way about them as well. So now y'all just got this whole little common common goal of feeling like you can dictate what that person should and should not be doing. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I don't know. We just have to do better as people. I feel like if we learn how to stay in our own lane and learn how to just be there when needed, when you're called upon for advice, or if you even see something that may be detrimental, then you step in, and with your concerns. But even then, you have to be careful. You know? So, I don't know. I just thought that I would share that.